Dear Patriots, before the news starts, please subscribe to our patriotic channel by clicking the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up to this video. Don't forget to leave your opinion below in the comments section. Share the news on Facebook and Twitter so your friends see it. Thank you.
White House gives fullest condemnation of attack on ex-Russian spy in Britain. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders on Monday declared the Trump administration's fullest condemnation of the attempted assassination of a former Russian spy in Britain, but stopped short of joining Prime Minister Theresa May in blaming the Russian government for the act. "Look, we've been monitoring the incident closely, take it very seriously," Sanders said. The use of a highly lethal nerve agent against UK citizens on UK soil is an outrage. The attack was reckless, indiscriminate and irresponsible. We offer the fullest condemnation, and we extend our sympathy to the victims and their families and our support to the UK government. We stand by our closest ally in the special relationship that we have. Earlier on Monday, May declared in the House of Commons that it was highly likely the Kremlin was behind the attempted murder of Russian double agent Sergei Skripal, either directly or indirectly. Skripal was attacked last week in southern England with a nerve agent and remains in critical condition. It is now clear that Mr. Skripal and his daughter were poisoned with a military-grade nerve agent of the type developed by Russia, May said, adding that the attack was either carried out by Russia or that the Kremlin had allowed the nerve agent to fall into the hands of others. But while Sanders expressed the White House's outrage on Monday, she declined to blame Russia as May did earlier in the day. President Donald Trump has been criticized at times for his relatively soft stance on Russia, especially compared with his overall get-tough approach to foreign policy, and his 2016 campaign has been accused of colluding with the Kremlin's efforts to interfere in that year's presidential election. Trump has vehemently denied those allegations. "Right now, we are standing with our UK allies," Sanders said. "I think they're still working through even some of the details of that. And we're going to continue to work with the UK, and we certainly stand with them throughout this process." Democrats ask for copy of Trump Organization's check to taxpayers. Democratic investigators on Monday asked to see proof that the Trump Organization donated $151,470 to the Treasury Department, as lawmakers try to determine whether President Donald Trump has profited from foreign governments. George Sorial, the Trump Organization's executive vice president and chief compliance counsel, said Friday that the gift made good on the company's promise to hand over profits earned from foreign governments during Trump's administration. Representative Elijah Cummings, DMD, ranking member on the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, requested all documents related to the donation, including a copy of the check or money transfer, in a letter to Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, giving him until March 26 to comply. In a separate letter dated Monday, Cummings pressed Sorial for details on how the amount was calculated, including an accounting of which governments did business with the Trump Organization and the formula used to determine the profits. Cummings also asked whether the company plans to claim the Treasury donation as a gift for tax deduction purposes. "There is no legitimate reason for the Trump Organization to withhold information about these payments from Congress," Cummings wrote. "We have an obligation to determine whether foreign governments are spending money at President Trump's businesses, how much they are spending, and whether these payments violate the Emoluments Clause." Cummings is one of 196 members of the House and Senate, all Democrats, who have sued Trump claiming violations of the Constitution's Emoluments Clause, which was designed to prevent corruption by foreign influence. Blumenthal v. Trump is pending in U.S. District Court in Washington. Trump handed over management of his company's day-to-day operations to his sons Donald Jr. and Eric before taking office last year. Neither the Trump Organization nor the Treasury immediately responded to requests for comment. Stormy Daniels offers to return $130,000 to end deal to keep quiet. Stormy Daniels, the porn actress who claims she was paid $130,000 in 2016 to keep quiet about a decade-old affair with Donald Trump, has offered to return the money in exchange for being released from the agreement. In a letter Monday to Trump's personal lawyers, Daniels, whose given name is Stephanie Clifford, said she would wire the money by Friday if the president agreed to dissolve the October 2016 hush money settlement. Daniels also offered to drop a lawsuit filed March 6 in which she claims the agreement is invalid because Trump never signed it. Daniels' lawyer, Michael Avenatti, gave Trump's lawyers until 12:01 p.m. Tuesday to accept or reject the deal. In the event this offer is not accepted in a writing delivered to me on or before that date and time, the offer shall automatically be deemed withdrawn in its entirety and shall be null and void, Avenatti wrote to Trump's lawyers, Michael Cohen and Lawrence Rosen. Cohen and Rosen did not immediately respond to requests for comment. According to the October 28, 2016, settlement, Daniels agreed to turn over all texts, photographs and other confidential information pertaining to Trump in exchange for $130,000. Cohen has said that he borrowed on his home to pay Daniels out of his own pocket and that Trump isn't involved. The deal's timing, a decade after the affair allegedly occurred, was reached at a critical juncture in Trump's campaign, just before the election and days after an Access Hollywood tape surfaced in which Trump bragged about groping women. Government watchdog groups have questioned whether the payment amounted to an undisclosed donation to the Trump campaign and have asked the Justice Department and Federal Election Commission to investigate. White House says still weighing age restrictions for some guns, after Trump signals he's backing off. President Donald Trump has not closed the door on raising the age at which Americans are allowed to buy certain firearms, White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders insisted on Monday afternoon, hours after the president himself seemed to do just that, conceding that there is not much political support for such a move. Right now the president's primary focus is on pushing through things that we know have broad bipartisan support or things that we can do from an administrative perspective that we can do immediately, but we haven't let go of some of those other things that we are going to continue to review and look at, Sanders told reporters near the top of her Monday press briefing. She said Trump still supported raising the age limit for the purchase of certain guns, whether done at the federal level or on a state-by-state basis, but could not institute such a policy on his own. She grew increasingly frustrated as reporters continued to question her about the president's apparent backtrack on positions he had previously expressed support for, especially when one questioner referenced the president's position on raising the legal purchase age for certain firearms relative to his 2016 campaign rhetoric, that he alone was capable of fixing the flaws he said existed in the federal government. "That's not actually what I said, but you guys continue to misunderstand and misrepresent the comments that I'm making," Sanders said when a reporter suggested Trump had abandoned his "I alone can fix it" campaign rhetoric. "I'm saying that the president is pushing forward on things that we know have broad-based support and that we can immediately get done, while at the same time we're looking at the best way forward to push these other things through, whether it's on a state level, whether it's on a federal level." Trump had previously proposed raising to 21 the legal age for purchasing certain types of guns, including assault-style rifles like the one used in last month's mass shooting at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. The president's proposal was met with pushback from the NRA and was left off of a list of recommendations to stop school shootings released on Sunday by the White House. On Monday, the White House released a list of the president's policy proposals relative to the Parkland shooting that included age restrictions for certain firearm purchases among the topics to be researched by a federal commission on school safety chaired by Education Secretary Betsy DeVos. On 18 to 21 age limits, watching court cases and rulings before acting, Trump wrote on Twitter on Monday morning. "States are making this decision. Things are moving rapidly on this, but not much political support, to put it mildly." Before conceding on raising the age limit for the purchase of certain guns, Trump had publicly chided members of his own party, telling GOP lawmakers at a White House meeting that they were afraid of the NRA. In an earlier tweet, the president touted other steps that his administration still intends to pursue, including very strong improvement and strengthening of background checks and the banning of bump stocks, devices used last year by a mass shooter in Las Vegas that allow a semi-automatic weapon to function essentially as an automatic one. Highly trained expert teachers will be allowed to conceal carry, subject to state law, the president said, a step that he has argued will harden schools against shooters and deter attacks. Later on Monday morning, the president tweeted that gun-free zones were an invitation for violence and danger. While Trump has backed away from his support for raising the age at which certain guns can be purchased to 21, Governor Rick Scott of Florida signed legislation earlier this month doing just that, as well as banning bump stocks, funding mental health programs in schools and instituting a 3-day waiting period for the purchase of firearms. The bill, which has prompted the NRA to sue the state of Florida in order to block its implementation, also allows willing teachers to carry firearms inside schools,